Terence Crawford stops Mean Machine Kavaliauskas in the 9th round. Wow. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Wow. Let me break it down. Terence Crawford defeated Mean Machine Kavaliauskas. He was formerly undefeated. I want to give you my thoughts and breakdown. Good fight, unexpectedly good. Terence Crawford, towards the end, he started breaking the man down, dogging him. But I guess the thing that was most shocking was how Crawford decided to fight early on. And Terence Crawford, it's like I have mixed feelings about this performance. Great performance, because it all went in his favor. But he did some things that I don't prefer. I think he fought a riskier fight than needed, and he fought a stubborn fight. And it paid off for him. But again, this wasn't considered to be, one of the better guys in the division. It was a mandatory or whatever, but it wasn't like Errol, Spence, Danny Garcia. But, I got to give it to Crawford. Bud's willpower is insane. His competitiveness is insane. Okay, so early rounds, Kavaliauskas, he has power. That's what he's known as, a power puncher. He's coming off a performance where he didn't look so good. So he made some minor tweaks in his game, and he's a 2-time Olympian, so he was actually more patient. Now, Crawford decided to fight southpaw, and he was being lined up with Mean Machine's right hand, and this was a power puncher. And it was pretty slow. Well, no, I wouldn't say slow, but it was an even tempo round 1. But it got to, I think it was round 2, and then Crawford was getting hit with some rights. And then he get hit with one in round 2 or 3 where he looked like he was hurt, and he buckled from it, and he went down to the canvas. And it really should have been, they ruled it a slip because he kind of like did what Stavern did when Wilder hurt him in the first fight, and he kind of tackled him. He didn't make it look as obvious as Stavern, but he kind of like started pushing forward, but it looked like he was hurt. And I was like, oh man, this ain't good for Bud Crawford. But he had a couple other moments like that where he was coming in as a southpaw, and Mean Machine was just timing him, trying to set traps. And this was the undoing for Mean Machine. That early success is because it took Crawford to another gear, and Terence Crawford, from that point on, it happened for a little bit, maybe another round. And then after that, it was pretty much what we expected, the Crawford show. He just started walking this man down, making it uncomfortable, giving him a type of pressure that he doesn't want to deal with. And, not to stereotype, but there's a lot of fighters from the Europe or Eastern European fighters, Lithuania, different places like that, Kazakhstan. They, by and large, there's a lot of them that they train different, and they have the fundamentals and amateur backgrounds, and 150, 250, 350, 400 amateur fights, stuff like that. So they're kind of looking for the cleaner work, by and large. But one thing they're not expecting is what Crawford did. And he turned up on the man, and he just made it too unbearable. He just made it too hot in the kitchen. It's like doing a pepper challenge, and, Crawford's eating the peppers or the ghost pepper hot wings, and Crawford proved that he had the taste buds to take it. When it started getting too hot in the kitchen, you start to see the spirit of Mean Machine get broken down. So it was just a gutsy, dangerous, risky, man style type of performance. I even tweeted, Crawford's fighting like he's in the Mayweather gym, doghouse rules. Like he was just fighting animalistic almost. And he has that X factor, and he keeps showing it. He has that mean streak, and maybe that's just who he is. He's that competitive. It's crazy. The only thing that I disagree with him doing that is because this guy has never went 12 rounds before. He's only went 10 rounds. I think Terence Crawford, because it really was a knockdown. I think most people can agree. Even the telecast was saying they believed it was a knockdown. So instead of moments like that, I think it would have been the same outcome had he tenderize the meat a little bit. You get what I'm saying? You're just giving the guy whose only shot to deal with you is his power and, you know, basic fundamentals. You're giving him his only opening to even look good. And, you know, I think that's a little bit too risky when Crawford has great legs, great ring IQ. He can fight out of both standpoints. And he felt very stubborn. Like, I'm going to do things my way. And I think it paid off here. This is Mean Machine. But what if you do that with Errol Spence? You know, you stay in the, you know, orthodox, and he's sending all his shots to you from a southpaw position, and then it's landing, and you're going to stay a southpaw if he's getting the better of you in the southpaw. You know, so I think it played out for Crawford here, but I don't like that all the way. I feel like that's a gift and a curse. To have the dog is awesome. It's just like a car. It's like a car with like turbo boost or NOS or something. You know, it's great to have that, but you don't want to overuse it, you know, because it looked like there was some reddening and maybe like bruising around Terence Crawford's nose, the bridge of his nose. I think he had a knockdown. And just the fact that a guy who, by the public's view, they're saying he was a nobody and they don't know who he is. And then they're like, man, he landed some stuff. He landed. So it makes you, when you consider the more elite names, it makes you wonder, is he going to be this stubborn, or is he going to, you know, get the fight and break him down? Because again, I think the same exact outcome would have been rendered if he had boxed in the early rounds, frustrated Mean Machine and pot shotted and pick off his shots, and then when he wasn't expected, or once you wore him down and he got a little bit tired, round 4, 5, 6, whenever, he would have had no moments where he hurt you, no moments where he was landing. And then now you start turning up the pressure and you know, turn up the thermostat. He wouldn't have been able to take that. So I think Crawford's work, it was impressive just because he's Crawford, so he's able to do that. But at the elite level, the elite of names, I don't like that stubbornness and that type of risk when it's not necessary. Sometimes you got to take, and that's what makes me believe that Floyd Mayweather is the greatest boxer of this generation, because Floyd always fights to win. He fights and does what he needs to win. To me, Terence Crawford almost fought like he had a chip on his shoulder and he had something to prove. People were saying the Teofimo Lopez fight was the better fight with Richard Comey, which was a great fight, you know, only lasted 2 rounds. It was almost like Terence Crawford was in the locker room getting ready to come out, seen Teofimo get the knockout, and was like, nah, no one's going to upstage me. I'm going to make this fun. But they're fun fights, and I use this tweet as well. It's almost like Tim Bradley versus Ruslan Provodnikov. When you come out with something to prove and a chip on your shoulder, you know, you take unnecessary punishment that you didn't really need to, and you would have looked dazzling and even more spectacular if you didn't have to go through anything, and then you still did what he did. Because I think that would have been the outcome if he just boxed, moved around, frustrated, Aegis, burn off some of that unnecessary energy from Mean Machine, make him a little bit weary of your punch, and then start turning it up. You know he can't compete with you there. So I hope this was and I've seen Crawford do this before, and it's worked against the guys like Deary Jean and Mean Machine now and stuff. But I hope he curbs that and pulls it back, because you could win every round. Terence Crawford has the skill set. He can win every round against Mean Machine. It's just how he decides to do it. You know, how clean is his work going to be? And I was impressed, though. The good thing with Crawford is, like I said, he has that drive, that willpower, and that X factor. Because when he turned it up, bro, Mean Machine was trying to keep him off and stuff like that. That man really turned up. And that's an elite skill set in itself, to be able to turn up the pressure and fuck what they talking about and just keep coming and keep coming. That's discouraging as fuck. If you a power puncher and you know you hurt him earlier and he just walking through your shit now, you know. So Crawford, that man is competitive. It's insane. It's insane how competitive he is. And I just hope he doesn't get in trouble in some of his bigger fights by doing that, bro. The skill set is there. He could, bro, his jab is beautiful. So I think he should have tenderized the meat a little bit more, because obviously I'm not comparing him because he's higher skill set than Anthony Joshua, but Joshua, he hurt Andy Ruiz and tried to chump him, and then he ended up getting knocked out, you know, Pacquiao versus Marquez. So I think it's an unnecessary risk that a guy as smart and skilled and been boxing as long as Crawford, doesn't even need to take, and he'll get the same result. Trust me. If he would have just jabbed and boxed and moved and, you know, feinted and or got out of the southpaw position, it was like it's like your mom telling you can't do something. You like let's say your mom go to the see, I'm the king of analogies. Let's say your mom goes to the grocery store and she has 25 bags and she's like, help me get the groceries out the car, and she takes 5 of them, so there's 20 bags left, and she's like, oh, don't try to take all that, you're gonna hurt your back. And then you're like, no, you put 10 bags on each arm, as heavy as fuck, because she got canned goods and watermelons and bread and all types of shit. And just to almost spite your mom, she told you, man, just make 2 trips. There's no sense in like hurting yourself or tripping and falling, because, you know, you dealing with all this weight, and you doing it just to show her that you could do it. And you're like staggering to the doorway with 20 bags of groceries just to be different and just to, you know, defy and spite what's being said. I just don't think that's needed, especially at the elite level. But it made for a fun fight here. And, you know, maybe Crawford knows who he can do it with. I don't know. I don't know why he did it. But a motherfucker's still bad because he's able to do that and make that adjustment. The adjustment he made is gave the Lithuanian fighter no time to even think or breathe. He just stayed on him. And I think the difference, and we'll use another welterweight fight this year, Shawn Porter made Errol Spence fight that way. Errol Spence could have fought at a slower pace and probably would have, but Shawn Porter jumped right on him. So that's different. This dude is waiting and trying to set traps, and then it's almost like Crawford, he knew how he looked, you know, getting hit with silly shit early when he was like still dry. That I just don't. What if the dude has crazy power that you can't take? You know what I'm saying? Because they're fighters like that, like Maidana or something. You know what I'm saying? They've been elite. They might hit you with some shit and you really in bad shape. So I just think it's too much risk for him to fight like that against a guy like this. I think he should have tenderized him, and he rushed his work a bit, but it all worked out for him in the end. So that's my mixed review about the fight. It was definitely a fun fight, but so was Tim Bradley versus Ruslan Provodnikov. I just feel like guys have to win. Don't try to upstage the co-feature. Don't try to fight for the fans. You got to fight for you, because you're doing all this and like getting hit with big shot. You could get injured. What if you had a big fight coming up and now you're getting injured because you jumped in and he caught you and he timed you? It's just like, this is the only guy. This is a guy who ain't even went more than 10 rounds. So I wouldn't give him nothing. I wouldn't give him no opportunity. And then that's what makes you look more dazzling, because you look untouchable, you know? But in the first 3-4 maybe rounds, he didn't look untouchable. He was getting caught. And he stubbornly clinged to the whole idea of staying southpaw. And as soon as he switched to orthodox, he started getting success right away almost. You know, where he really stayed as he started walking him down, pressuring him. And that's kind of what it's all about. So he made the adjustment, because when he did that, he started producing knockdowns, and you could tell the tempo was shifting. You know, it looked like he was going to get stopped in one of the earlier rounds. And then he walked to his corner and just stood up and was breathing heavy. You could see he was discouraged, and that made Terence Crawford confidence grow, because, you know, he's seen this behavior in the gym. So the man really broke the power puncher down. So for casuals, they're going to love that. They're going to love that, because it was exciting, because he just literally took a man's soul, took another undefeated fighter's O. But me being a boxing purist and someone who respects the sweet science, I know Terence Crawford can have the same result, but just take your time a little bit more, and it would have been the same way. It could have been even uglier, because you got to understand, if someone's catch you with silly shit, that takes power off your health bar too. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a flawless where you just like outboxing him, frustrating him, slowing him down, making him tired, he's chasing you a little bit, and then you turn up, it's kind of like Lamont Peterson, what he did to Danny Garcia. You know, made Danny Garcia chase a little bit and then turn up on his ass, and he almost stopped Danny Garcia. So I think the same game plan would have been smarter. Get out that southpaw shit with this dude, since he had a strong right hand, and that's his only shot of kind of beating you. He wasn't more skilled, but he's an Olympian from Lithuania, so he has a good two-time Olympian, good grasp of the basics. You know, just be smart and break the man down. And Andre Ward was saying a lot of what I'm saying too, so I believe I'm right. Fun fight though. Let me know what you guys felt from the fight. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.